Welcome to Stagepass and to Season 2 of the podcast. We're kicking off this year with an incredible interview with singer-songwriter and a one-time area resident, Mr. James Lee Stanley. Now, how many shows do you do a year now, James? Because I'm sure touring is where is your bread and butter. That's where you have to go to make your money.
Well, this is my third marriage, so I've learned to not be on the road more than I'm home. So I promised my wife that I wouldn't do more than 5 months out of the year, but COVID, shut us down for 2 years, and I must admit that I'd never been home that long in a row in my life, and I must admit that I really liked it. And so going back, I just did a tour of the Midwest. It went great. I had bigger crowds at every show.
Awesome.
And the last show was a sellout, and the next show I'm doing in January is already sold out. I mean, but I'm not doing as many dates as I used to do.
I love that first song you sent me. What a powerful, powerful lyric that is.
That's a Brian Bilston poem, right?
No, I did not.
Well, there's a poet in England named Brian Bilston, and about 5 years ago, when the Long Island shooting happened and all those children were killed, when Brian Bilston, I believe, wrote that poem, and that's when I started seeing it on the internet. And I watched it for 5 years, and I'm thinking, someone should write a song with these lyrics. They're so powerful. And then one day I got down to the stems and seeds, and I realized I had a burst of clarity and realized I was a singer-songwriter. And so I put a melody to it. I wrote 3 different melodies to it before I got to the one that I sent you. Because I wanted a melody that was so simple and so accessible. I want everybody to sing this song and to hear this song and to act on this song.
England is a cup of tea, France a wheel of ripened brie, Greece a little olive tree, America's a gun. Brazil is football in the sand, Argentina, Maradona's hand, Germany's an oompa band, America's a gun. Holland is a wooden shoe, Hungary's a goulash stew, Australia is a kangaroo, America's a gun. America's a gun. Japan, well, it's a thermal spring. Scotland is a highland fling. We could be most anything, but America's a gun.
Let's jump into it a little bit because there are a million things I want to talk to you about. And one of them is at some point when I read the information about you, it says that you were born in Philadelphia, and then at some point in time you ended up in California. But in between all of that, you spent some time in Norfolk. And when we talked the other day, you mentioned to me something that flabbergasted me, that you actually created the club, the Folk Ghetto, which became such a landmark here for people that were getting started in acoustic music.
Right. Yeah. I started it because I got thrown out of high school and I went down to Virginia Beach when I was 16 or 17, and I worked at a club called The Shadows at 16th and Atlantic. And it was a great, great nightclub. And I worked there all summer. And that was when I met Cass Elliot and Dennis Doherty and John Phillips and Michelle Phillips and the Modern Folk Quartet, Henry Diltz, who's a great rock photographer.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Zalyanovsky. I met everybody. I met so many people that became friends of mine for life that summer. And then summer was over in Virginia Beach. And then when summer was over, Virginia Beach used to close down completely. It used to be closed from September to May, or actually September to Memorial Day. And so I had no place to play music. And my friend Bruce Stampley and my friend Ron Holloman, who passed away last year. The three of us got together and we started a nightclub for teenagers called the Folk Ghetto, and it was down on Freemason Street, 213 West Freemason Street, right just before the cobblestones started. And it was a great joint. I mean, Brian Bowers played there, Emmylou Harris played there,
Yeah.
I played there. Peter Tork, I invited Peter Tork down to play, and that was the first time that he had ever gone somewhere as Peter Tork,
Huh.
and
And
was
he
a headliner.
and he played at the Folk Ghetto.
He did. He did a week at the Folk Ghetto, and we sold out every show all week. It was Easter week, and the opening act was called the Ben Ezrados Quartet, I think, and the main guy, the saxophone player, was Jim Rothermel, who ended up playing with Van Morrison and Jesse Colin Young.
Oh,
It was
wow.
amazing, man. So many of us came out of this little tiny place,
And that is incredible. And as I said to you the other day when that came up, it actually lasted for a good while after you left the area. It hung in there for a
Yeah,
few years.
yeah,
And I know
it
quite a
did.
few people that played through there. And of course, everybody talks about Emmylou Harris playing
Uh-huh.
here locally, but I did not know about Peter Tork. I think that's amazing. You actually had a couple of releases with Peter, one in the 90s, I believe, and then you guys did another one.
No, actually, we did. I produced his solo album, uh, which we put out. Amazingly enough, I told him, "I have a studio. Let's do a record on you, and we'll shop it." And when we finished the record, the recording, he said, "James, I don't want to shop it. I want to put it on your label." So Peter Tork signed to my little label, Beechwood Recordings, and we put it out. And then MTV was having that unplugged thing happening,
Oh, yeah.
and Peter said, I want to go out on the road and do one of those. Why don't you come with me?" And so I went with him, and I would do an opening set, and then he would do a set, and then he'd call me back up. We do a couple of tunes together, and the audience, we did sold out shows everywhere, and the audience kept saying they wanted to hear more of the two of us.
Hmm.
And by the time the tour was over, we had worked up about 10 songs together. So we went in the studio and recorded live, warts and all, the two of us just sitting here facing each other and playing 5 of his songs and 5 of mine.
Huh.
And that became an album I called a two-man band.
Yep.
Then we did another album called Once Again, which was another set of the two of us. And then we did a live album called Backstage at the Coffee Gallery, which is an hour-long live. We recorded a couple of nights, and we took the best stuff from the no, actually one night. We did one night,
Huh.
we played all night, and we got 1 hour out of the 2 hours we played.
That's amazing. It's funny. A lot of people, when they think back on his time in the Monkees, everybody tends to think that the only real musician in that band was Michael Nesmith, but that's not true. Peter Tork was pretty accomplished.
Not only he was twice the musician Michael was.
Actually, your albums that you've done with others, that's what drew me to you initially. I think the first album I heard of yours was All Wood and Doors, and
Oh,
it
that was a wonderful project, man. I had done All Wood and Stones with John Batdorf,
right,
and and XM called it the record of the year. They loved it. They still play it.
yeah,
And so we did a second volume called All Wood and Stones 2.
right,
And then I ran into John Densmore, and I knew he was going to be there, so I literally brought his book Riders on the Storm with me because I wanted him to sign it because I'm a huge Doors fan.
yeah,
And when I met him, I said, "Hi, James Lee Stanley." And the first words out of Densmore's mouth are, "Hey, man, I love what you did to the Stones. Are you here for lunch?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, sit down." So I sat down with him. We had lunch, and then he said in the middle of lunch, "If you do the Doors like you did the Stones, I'll play on it."
huh.
And I said, "Well, then, John, I'm going to hold you to that."
Yeah, right.
And I called Batdorf, and who I had done the Stones records with, and I said, "Hey, I just had lunch with John Densmore. He says if we do the Doors, he'll play on it." And Batdorf said, "I never liked the Doors." And I said, "Okay." And I called Cliff Eberhard, who's a great singer-songwriter
Yes.
from New England. And so Cliff came out. We picked. He was only out like 3 days, so we picked a dozen songs of the Doors that we liked, and we did 2 guitar arrangements, and I recorded his part. Then he left, and I recorded, I overdubbed everybody else after that, the percussion, the bass, and then people started coming out of the woodwork to play on that All Wooden Doors record. Timothy Schmidt from the Eagles, Lawrence Juber from Wings, Paul Barrere from Little Feat, Peter Tork from the Monkees. Everybody on that record was famous except me. And it came out great. And then then Robbie Krieger called up. I was on the road and the phone rings and it's Robbie Krieger and he goes, "Hey man, I heard you're doing our tunes." And I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Well, do you want some more guitar?" And I laughed and I said, "Robbie, we'll fit you in." So I had the two Living Doors playing on the record.
Unbelievable.
I thought this record was going to change my life, but radio wouldn't touch it.
And that's so crazy because that's a tremendous record.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, that is a tremendous record.
I think it is. I can listen to that record like a record. I mean, even though it's mine, I can listen to it. I like it.
Riders on the storm, riders on the storm. Into this house we're born, into this world we're thrown. Like a dog without a bone, an actor out alone. Riders on the storm. There's a killer on the road. His brain is twitching like a toad. Take a holiday and let your children play. If you give this man a ride, sweet memories will die. Killer on the road. There's a killer on the road. To this house we're born, into this world we're thrown. Like a dog without a bone, an actor all alone. Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm.
And I just did All Wood and Lead. Have you heard that?
I did. I listened to that today, and I'll tell you what, when I went in to listen to it, I went in with some trepidation because I was kind of a Led Zeppelin fan, and I just thought, how in the world does this convert? And one of my favorite all-time songs by them is Good Times, Bad Times. And I got to that and I thought, oh my God, this is great. The way your arrangement on it was tremendous. And My Hey Hey, I think is my favorite off the whole thing. Your arrangements on all three of these records, to be honest,
thanks.
on the Stones, the Doors, and this Led Zepp, which I now have in my library as well. I just think your arrangements are spectacular on those songs. To break them down and get them into an acoustic format.
I mean, the deal is, I mean, I really can think of them. I think of them as a deconstruction. I take the song and then I don't want to do it like Led Zeppelin did it because they already did it great.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the Doors did it great. The Stones did it great. If I'm going to do it, I have to do something else to the song. And I try to imagine if I was writing the song, what would I have done? You know, so I keep the melodies and the words. Essentially, I change some words if I don't. Like I did change that thing where she likes to ball all day. I thought I really can't sing. She likes to ball all day. You know, so I just said she likes to drink all day. I just, you know.
I wanna tell you about the girl I love. How she looks so fine. She's the only one that I've been dreaming of. Maybe someday she'll be mine, all mine. I wanna tell her that I love her so. Thrilled with her every touch. I need to tell her she's the only one I really love. That I really love, yeah. I got a woman, wanna stray all day. I got a woman, if you won't be true, no. I got a woman, stay drunk all the time. I said I got a little woman and she won't be true, no. On Sunday morning when we go down to church, men folks standing in line. Don't you tell me that they come there to pray when my little girl looks so fine in a Sunday suit. And in the evening when the sun is sinking low, everybody with the one they love. I walk to town, keep searching all around, looking for my street corner girl. She's walking on. I got a woman and she looks so fine. Yeah, I got a woman and I wanna make her mine. I got a woman, think I'm wasting my time.
Got a woman and she looks so fine. I got a woman and she looks so
damn fine.
fine.
Hey, hey, what can I do? I got a woman and she won't be true. Hey, hey, what can I say? Still wanna be with her night and day. Hey, hey, what can I do? I got a woman and she won't be true. Hey, hey, what can I say? Still wanna be with her night and day. Hey, hey, what can I do? I got a woman and she won't be true. She's really breaking my heart.
I also have to tell you, you know, I was really thrilled when you did the work with John Batdorf because I first heard him back in it had to be the early '70s when he was doing the Batdorf and Rodney albums, and
It was early '70s. I met him in 1970 or '71, and I remember I heard he and Mark playing at this little dive in Glendale, and when I heard them playing, I came up to him after and I said, "John, I'm James Lee Stanley. I really love what the two of you did, and I'm thinking that I can drop a third part and some more guitar in here, and I think, and he said, well, James, we've just been signed to Atlantic and we've already recorded a record. And so I said, oh, well, okay. And then I guess it was 30 years later, 25 years later, I decided to do this Stones thing. And somebody said, oh, I called George Merrill, who wrote How Will I Know? And I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Yeah.
George has a beautiful high tenor. And I said, George, I want to do an album with two other guys, and I want to do Rolling Stones songs like Crosby, Stills, and Nash. And you want to do it? He said, yeah, I'm in. And I said, well, I need a third voice. And he said, there's a guy that lives close to you who's really good. I said, who's that? He said, John Batdorf. I said, Batdorf lives close to me? He said, yeah, he lives. It turns out Batdorf lived a mile away.
Oh, man.
And so I called him and we got together for lunch. And he said, man, I just came off. He was doing the music for some TV show. And the show ended. A Lifetime show, I think, or one of those things. In any event, he said, I just came off this. I'm completely free. I said, well, let's do it. So he came to my studio and we did all wood and stones. And the George Merrill called up a week before we were to start. And he said, James, I can't do it, man. I've got to do all this planning for my elopement. And I said, planning for your elopement? I said, you know what an elopement is, don't you? You get in the car and you go get married. What do you mean planning your, He said, well, I can't do it. And I thought, oh, great. I've got everything set up. I came off the road. I blocked the time. John blocked the time. And now George isn't going to do it. And my wife said, why don't you call Timothy? And I said, because Timothy's in the Eagles now. And she said, call him. What have you got to lose? Yeah. So I called him up. And I said, Timothy, I need a third voice for this project. He said, that sounds great. I'll do it. So he came over. And he did Last Time. So it was John and Timothy and I. Oh. We were going to do the whole album together. And after he did Last Time, which we nailed in one day, the next morning, I come in the studio and the phone rings and it's Timothy. And he says, James, I don't know how to tell you this, man, but I just got a call from Henley and he's putting the Eagles back together. And I know I committed to doing this project with you. And I said, so let me see. You're talking about touring with the Eagles and making $1 bazillion, or coming over to my garage studio and making all the CDs you can eat. So let me think. I think you should go with the Eagles. And which he did. He went off and they rehearsed for every day, 6 hours a day for 6 months before they did the tour. Yeah. They're impeccable. One of my favorite bands. Yeah. In any event, when we were finishing up the album, Timothy called again. He said, James, we just got a little hiatus. Where are you in the project? And I said, well, we're actually doing the last song today. And he said, well, do you want me to come over? And I said, yes. So he came over and sang on the last song we did, which was As Tears Go By.
Oh, yeah.
And he sang on the first song we did, which was Last Time.
The Last Time. I love, that's one of my favorites.
Actually, he's sung on all my records.
Has he really?
And it's, yeah. He's been a friend since Poco, man. I've known him for 40 years or 50 years or something.
Well, I told you once, I told you twice. You never listened to my advice. You don't try very hard to please me. With what you know, it should be easy. This could be the last time. This could be the last time. Maybe the last time. I don't know. Oh no. price. Here's a chance to change your mind. 'Cause I'll be gone a long, long time. This could be the last time. This could be the last time. Maybe the last time. I don't know. Oh no. This could be the last time. This could be the last time. This could be the last time. This could be the last time.
Your voice with Dan Navarro on that All Wood and Lead, that's a good pairing. You two sound really good together.
Don't we? I really like that. It's so funny. He's on the road so much that literally I went down to his house and I spent the night, and we went over. First of all, I wasn't that familiar with the entire Led Zeppelin catalog, so he went out and bought every CD and then mailed them to me. So when I was on the road, I went through the entire recording thing once with them, and then I went to his house about a year later, and we spent a day and a night and a day just going over and picking 12 songs, and then he was supposed to come up and play on the record, but he was on the road, so I ended up playing everything on that record except the bass. I hired Chad Watson to play bass, and I had a cello player come in. Otherwise, I'm playing everything on that album.
Wow.
And then Dan came up. He had like 2 days, and we did all those vocals in 2 days.
Is that
for
right?
The whole album.
Wow.
Yeah, lead and background. He's a great singer. Great.
Yeah, I really love the mix of your voices on that. I thought it was tremendous. Now the new music that you sent me, James, is that coming out soon? Is that a new solo project for you?
I thought that I finished it last night, and I listened to some of it in the car. And this morning I got up, and after I made the songs for you, I sent you "Wake the Flock Up," right?
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
Another favorite.
well, Lawrence Juber's playing some fabulous electric guitar on that record, and I liked it so much that I had it louder than everything, because when I heard it in the car last night, I thought, I gotta push Lawrence back a little bit, because this record's about me, not about Lawrence. So I just knocked him back a dB or two, and did that mix. So I think I'm done with the album as of right now.
Wow.
And it will come out after the first of the year. I'm not even going to send it to manufacturing until January, because everything's closing down.
Chained to the TV, chained to the phone. Everyone's connected, everyone's alone. Misinformation, spinning the news. Helplessly watching, must be something we can do. Wolves in the hen house, the brood is in need. Please, wake the flock up, wake the flock up. Wake the flock up, wake the flock up. Wake the flock up, wake the flock up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Done in broad daylight, no sense of shame. Say it's their nature, accepting no blame. Time isn't waiting, and neither should we. It's just who they are, it's easy to see. In a fight for your life, there aren't any rules, Wake the flock up, wake the flock up. Wake the flock up, wake the flock up. Wake the flock up, wake the flock up. Wake up, wake up. Killed with no conscience, rebels without a clue. Now they tasted blood, they're coming for you. Wake the flock up, wake the flock up. 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 Wake up, wake up, wake, 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 wake,
Yeah.
And this time I'm calling the album Just Another Sunrise
Oh.
because I took a photograph of the spectacular sunrise a couple weeks ago, and I put it up on the internet, and I wrote Just Another Sunrise, as though no big deal that something as spectacular as that. You know, I tried to, and I thought actually that'd be a nice cover for the record and a nice title.
Yeah.
So the album is called Just Another Sunrise, and it is the last CD I'm making.
Really?
And I decided to make only 1,000 of them, which I'm going to number and sign, and I'm not going to make any more. That's it. I'm going to continue to write and record, and I guess I'll use streaming services, you know.
Yeah.
But I'll never make an album again because the format is going.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Nobody. I mean, do you remember, Michael? A record would come out. We would go home with that new album, and we would sit down, we would get high, and we wouldn't move until we had to get up and turn the record over. You know what I mean? That was
absolutely.
It was an event. It was a date. You could actually call a girl and say, "Hey, I've got the new Beatles album," and she would come over, and we would just lie there and listen to it, and then make love like little hot monkeys, and then listen to it again. You know?
I once, as a kid, James, I hopped a train at Norview Avenue and rode it to Ward's Corner so I could buy the new Beatles record, and then had to wait for a train going the other way so I could get home. I told my mother that. She almost killed me.
Oh wow, that's so funny. I remember there was a theater at Ward's Corner.
Oh yeah,
a movie theater.
Yeah, I saw Let It Be there.
I saw Help there.
Oh, see, and I saw Let It Be there. How about that? Yeah, that
bizarre.
But you're right. You used to come home and just you'd scour over the lyrics. You'd look at all of the artwork, and it was an experience to sit down and listen to a record. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm going to try to make this album like that. I want it to be particularly because it's the last one. I want it to be a statement, you know, and it is my 37th album. Do you know I've wrote 37 albums?
Amazing. Michael. That's incredible.
My wife calls it a triumph of hope over feedback.
That'd be a good title for an album too.
I thought about that too. I thought, should I call it a triumph of hope over feedback? But then I saw that photograph.
You've been making these records in your own home studio for quite a while then now, right?
Yeah, in 1980, I refinanced my house in Santa Cruz. I had a beautiful home on 3/4 of an acre up there that I bought for $32,000. I refinanced it for $125,000, and I used the money to make an album. Yeah. That was in 1979, actually. Yeah. And in 1980, I went down to LA to shop the record, and it was just when the entire record industry, for the first time, went in the toilet. Yeah. Nobody was buying albums. So I ended up, my mortgage payment was $236 a month for this house in Santa Cruz. After the refi, it was $1,480 a month. Oof. So I was on the road 10 months out of the year just paying for my home. Yeah. And so I sold the home, you know, and I moved moved down to LA and just rented a room in somebody's house.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford to live there, so I just, I lost everything.
Yeah.
And it was at that point that I said to myself, I will never make an album in a studio again for $200 an hour.
Yeah.
I will create a studio. And so as soon as I made any money, I went out and I bought a little 8-track, Tascam 8-track, and a little board. And then and then as soon as I got some more money, I bought a bigger board, and I used that 8-track all the way up through Domino Harvest. I used it, but I used it in conjunction with the computer because I used the FSK tone and I synced up the computer with the 8-track.
Yeah.
So there'd be like 7 tracks of live stuff, and everything else was done in the computer.
Right.
And then I produced Mike Pinder from the Moody Blues, and he had a great board. It was called a Daner from DNR in Holland, and I said, Jesus, this board sounds good. We recorded it at his house. Then I went down to LA and we mixed it on a big SSL. And as we were there, we realized that we liked the sound of the DNR, the Daner, better than we liked the SSL.
Huh.
So I said, geez, I wish I could get one of these. He said, James, I can get you one for cost. So he got me that board, which I still have. It's a 48-channel board.
Oh, my goodness.
I hardly use all the channels now, but I bought that board and then I never looked back. But you're basically, from when I lost my house, I started putting together a recording studio, and that was 1980.
Yeah.
So I've been making my own records in my own studio. I was making demos through the 80s, but by 1986, by 1986, I was making records in my own studio, and I never looked back.
Have we ever been satisfied? I tell you honestly, whenever fortunes come our way, we've always looked to see, is that all? There's got to be more. Round the corner turn, but it's a hard lesson to learn. Yes, it's a hard lesson to learn. Seems like only yesterday the world was at my feet, loved, embraced, and nurtured by everyone I'd meet. It's too late now to show them how I give back in return, and that's a hard lesson to learn. Oh, it's a hard lesson to learn. Take your time, some people say, to live and love's the only way. Will we find the way? It's a hard lesson to learn. Take your time, some people say, to live and love's the only way. Will we find the way? My sunrise came right after the war. My sunset no one knows. Empires rise and empires fall. They only go to show. It's written in the day-to-day it's a hard lesson to learn. Yes, it's a hard lesson to learn. Oh, it's a hard lesson to learn.
James, I'm thrilled to have gotten to spend this much time talking to you, and I can't wait to share your music with folks. Is there anything you want to tell anybody about the songs in particular that we haven't covered?
Well, I've written about half of the album is very political, and half the album is romantic songs.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to sequence them so that works, but we'll see. Anyhow, I mean, I do love the record. I think it's my final one, and I think it's one of my best. But then I always think that. Also, I have a website, jamesleestanley.com. I'd like to recommend you all come by there. And I created a blog called Data Musicata, DATA Music ATA, Data Musicata.
Nice.
And there are about 600 or 700 articles up there, and it's everything that I can think of that would help an artist be and remain an artist.
Oh, that's awesome, James.
So, regardless of your genre, or your medium, just everything I can think of that would help people. And it's free. There's no advertising on it. There's nothing to sign up for.
That's fantastic.
Go there, and there's also a search engine, Data Musicata, and then there's a search engine, and you can say opening act, and then there'll be things about being an opening act, or I mean things about how to be a house guest, how to tune your guitar, how to buy a guitar, how to string a guitar, how to everything, every single thing I can think of. It's all there, datamusicata.com.
Well, James, again, it's a thrill for me to meet you and talk to you. I really enjoyed it, and I wish you the best with the new record, and maybe we can do this again sometime down the road.
I look forward to it, man. I look forward to seeing him when I come to Virginia next time. We'll play some music together.
Yeah, that'd be great, James. My thanks to James Lee Stanley for a really great interview and for sharing his new music with us. I also want to thank Brenda Barkley for her help in making this interview possible. We'll be back next week with another incredible talent when Abby Palmer joins me here on Stagepass. This episode has been brought to you by the Jones Art Gallery, located in Virginia Beach Town Center in Virginia Beach, Virginia.